Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be just an overview basically of some like how we found Sri Lanka with pricing and stuff. Just about the accommodations we stayed in, the transport, some of the activities we did and all that kind of stuff, you know, so you get a bit of an idea of how much things cost or how much it cost us. Just to mention that we do kind of travel on a budget way, you know, we don't spend too much on hotels and that kind of thing in general. We don't see the point when you're kind of out and about doing stuff and then you're pretty much just using the place to sleep. You know, that's the way we usually travel. But we do every now and again, we'll treat ourselves to a nice little place, you know. So, but we'll go through all of this of how we kind of found the pricing. And in all honesty, in Sri Lanka, everything was really cheap. Even the nice places are cheap, you know. So let's go through this. We started in Negombo, which is quite close to the airport. I'd highly recommend staying in Negombo rather than going to Colombo on your first night or two, you know, because it's closer to the airport and it's more chill. It's got a nice little beach there and everything. So we found a place there called Stillwater's Homestay for £20 a night. And it had an ensuite, great hot water, really nice bathroom, very modern, a traditional breakfast included as well, and good Wi-Fi. So that was £20 a night, you know, like it was really decent, really comfortable. So, you know, that's pretty good. From Hikkaduwa, that's the next place we went to. We stayed in a place called Chammy's Place, and that was £18 a night, so similar price. Very different though, it was very shacky, very wooden and beachy, you know. No AC, room with an ensuite, the bathroom was very basic, but you know, does the job, we're happy with that. But if you're looking for something a bit more comfortable, probably not your thing, you know. Huge breakfast included in the price, that's £18 a night, you know. So that was there. We went to Marissa, we spent £17 a night on it was like a garden villa, and it was a big room with an ensuite. There was no AC, we found it really hot there actually. Had a balcony with a hammock, no breakfast included with that either, and there was no hot water, which you don't really need when you're over there, to be honest, because it's so hot anyway. But sometimes it's nice to have the hot water, you know, to have the option of having a good clean. But that was £17 a night. So you're seeing these are quite close in their prices. Then we went to Unakarua, which was a place called Moon River Surf Camp. It was probably my favourite place where we stayed. Such an amazing place, amazing people, and it was £9 a night there. That's like half the price of the rest of the places. Huge room with an ensuite, very basic bathroom again, no AC, and it was just cold water, but it was hot there, you know, so we were good. And breakfast included in that for £9 a night. And you were right on the beach there, you know, like 15 seconds walk and you're right on a pretty much a secluded little beach to yourself. But that's how we found it anyway. So that's £9 a night, you know, so you've gone down 50% in price there basically. So that from there we went to Ella and we spent £12 a night there. That was a really nice room. There was hot water and there was AC also. It had a nice little balcony area there where you could overlook the mountain. You could look at Ella Rock, and the breakfast was included there. There was Wi-Fi. So that was £20 a night. Very similar to price to the other ones. And then from there we went to Kandy. We spent £15 a night there. Quite a small room, but very modern, very nice. Breakfast was included. There was AC. The host was great, very helpful. So that's £15 a night. Sigiriya, we splashed out a little bit in Sigiriya. We spent £28 a night, which we stayed there for 2 nights. But honestly, like an amazing place. As you can see from what I'm showing you here now, there was an infinite pool, and it would just overlook the rock basically. And we just spent one day just chilling there, just relaxing. It was so nice, so peaceful. The bird song, you know, no noise or distraction. It was just really a pleasant place to stay. So that was £28 a night. That was breakfast included. You had your own little like porch area. Yeah, and we didn't get to witness this, but there's rice paddies right in front of the pool, like right opposite the pool, and the elephants occasionally come there in the night time to chew on the rice plants, you know. So I stayed up until about 2 a.m. one night in the hope that I was going to see some elephants, but I didn't see them, unfortunately. But you never know, and that's a good thing to know personally as a wildlife lover, knowing that you can potentially see wild elephants like from your bed, basically, you know. And that was £28 a night, so that's pretty decent, very decent. But coming from the UK, that's still a cheap, you know. Then from there we moved on to Polonnaruwa. That was £9 a night. Very small room with a nice ensuite though. The bathroom and everything was great. Breakfast was included there, and it was very near the ruins, the Polonnaruwa ruins. So it was a good location if you go in there to see the ruins, you know. That was £9 a night. I mean, you can't moan at that. Very nice hosts. They had bikes there to hire. So, and then from there we went to Habarana. We stayed in a tree house, which was awesome. Really, you know, it was basic though. It was just a room, like one room up in a tree house, but an amazing experience. Really nice food there. Yeah, it was really awesome. I really enjoyed that, and again, that was breakfast included. And the guy that made the dinners, wow, he spent like three to 4 hours like making our dinner. You know, like such passion put into what he was doing. So, and then from there we went to Pinawala, and that was the Elephant Park Hotel. So that was £50 a night. We splashed out, but at the same time, it was definitely worth it. You know, because you were right on the river. You had the elephants right below you, bathing, and personally they're my favorite animals, so that, you know, I'd pay more than that to stay where we did. And we had the balcony was just perfect, just overlooking the river and everything. It was just, I don't know what to say about that. It was, apart from it was awesome, like. And it had a pool, and a really nice pool there, and the breakfast was also included there. So yeah, as you can see, the ones we paid the most for were the more, obviously, the nicer places, but there was something there to do also. You know, we were there for the elephants in Pinawala, so obviously it was quite a touristy thing to do, so the prices obviously go up. And Sigiriya is quite a touristy thing. The rock is very famous there to hike up, you know. So, but we were very happy to spend that. I mean, the way we like to do things, you know, like you can see here, there's, you know, £9 a night in some places. So we like to have our basic, you know, keep the price down, and then every now and again that allows you to have like a little high priced one, and you can treat yourself to a bit of luxury, you know. And I think with a trip like this as well, you need to treat yourself a little bit, because it can be quite tough, you know, traveling around on the buses. And the way we do things anyway, it's the way we choose to do things. And so that's that, you know. So that's the accommodation. So as you can see, the most we spent was £50, which is quite a lot, I guess, for one night. But that was, you don't get to see that very often, just elephants there, and the scenery was just amazing, you know. And we had these huge bats flying over our heads in the evening, thousands of them in the sky. That was worth it, you know. And then the next one was £28 a night, and then the rest were like £15 to £20, and then there was a couple at £9 a night. So you can basically make it what you want, you know. Over there, you can have it really cheap and have a really good like local experience if you want, or you can spend a bit more and you can have amazing luxury for not too much, you know. If you're from like the UK, like I am, you know, I mean, what we pay here for a crappy little room in a hotel in like London or whatever, there's no comparison, you know. So you make it what it is pretty much, and that goes a lot across the whole board with Sri Lanka. I'm gonna say you can make it as cheap or as expensive as you want, really, you know, because even when you do it cheaply, it's still usually a pleasant experience. And that's going to lead us on to transport. So we got around mainly by buses, and we did some trains also. So, you know, the buses were the cheapest option, absolutely. And I was very happy going around on the buses, even when they were packed, even when they were busy. You know, most of the time they would find you a seat, they'd let you sit down if you wanted to, you know. And, you know, for example, here we went from Negombo to Colombo. That's an hour and a half on the bus, and it cost us £2.50 for both of us. But we believe we actually got ripped off there as well, because they charged us to put our bags in the back of the bus, and this was our first bus trip. No other bus after that asked us to do that. So we believe that we overpaid there, but £2.50 anyway for an hour and a half bus ride for both of us. That's cheap. And then we got another bus, for example, from Hikkaduwa to Marissa. That was an hour and a half also, and that cost us like hardly anything. That was 420 rupees, which is just under £2. So we also got the train, for example, Colombo. The trains were also cheap, Colombo to Hikkaduwa. That took us 4 hours, a train ride, and it cost us £1.70 for both of us. So that's, you're talking just over $2 there for two people. So $1 each for a 4 hour train ride. Sorry, which was an amazing ride. So trains, buses, very, very cheap. They can be busy, but they can be. It's just the experience. You're mingling with locals, and every train ride we had was just amazing scenery. Anyway, so you're never bored. It's not like being in a train, for example, going through the middle of London again. Say, just use London as an example. It's not like you're just looking at all of these grey buildings and stuff. It's just beautiful scenery, and it just chugs along, and it's the old style trains. I loved it. I'd highly recommend that. Buses and trains, awesome. Tuk-tuks, again, cheap. They're a good way of getting around the towns or wherever you're staying. But the tuk-tuk drivers will also offer to take you miles if you want. I mean, one guy offered to take us from, let me see, where was it? Hikkaduwa, I think? No, Unakarua up to Ella. Which is like about a 4 hour bus ride. So he wanted to take us in a tuk-tuk, They're willing to do that. They really are. And that's how helpful these people are. They it's not that they just want to get money out of you. They're willing to help you. They want to get you from A to B safely as well, and that, talking about tuk-tuks, we went from Habarana up to Dambulla to see the ruins, and we had all of our baggages with us, and we were going to go to the hotel first, drop our stuff off, the room, drop our stuff off, and then go back to the town to do the ruins. And the tuk-tuk driver said, no, it's fine, you leave the bags with me, take a photo of my number plate, I'll wait with all of your stuff, so it saves you from having to go to your place to come back. So he just stayed with all of our stuff. We went in to see the ruins, came back, there he was with our bags, and they're just so helpful, really. Very trustworthy people out there. So, yeah, I mean, like I said before, with Sri Lanka, the experience we had, you can spend as much as you want, or you can make it as cheap as you want, Food, again, local stuff, so cheap, so cheap, off the street, in a restaurant, very cheap, or you can go to a slightly swanky place and still pay not too much. I think we spent maybe £25 or something at the most expensive place. I think that was our last night, but it was probably one of the most expensive places in where was that? That was in Negombo, but beautiful food, and that was like 2 or 3 drinks each. I think there were cocktails that we had, so but then we were spending like $2, $3, $4 sometimes for a meal each and a drink, so you can just make it as you want. And that's the beautiful thing about Sri Lanka, I find, is that you can spend as much as you want there, in a way. Do it as cheaply. I know I keep saying that, but you can spend cheaply as you want, or you can spend as much as you want, So however you decide, or should I say, however you like to travel. Like, I like to travel, and my girlfriend also, we like to travel, quite cheaply, and so that we can have more money to see places, rather than spending money on accommodation, like staying in expensive places. We'd rather save that money to allow us to go somewhere else, or do an activity or something like that, Whereas other people, they'd rather spend more on the accommodation because they like the luxuries and kind of do less as far as traveling around. So if you've got any questions about any of this, get in touch with me. The people are more than helpful. The people will just go out of their way to make you happy, to make sure you've got things. One example, we went to this little remote place just outside of Ella, and we stopped at this tiny little shack, and they were selling the most basic foods: roti and some tea. You know, just a cup of tea. That was pretty much it. And these are the small little things I forget the name of, but very basic local foods. No, so we went there, and as soon as we sat down, we sat and we said, "Oh, we'll have some roti." And then we noticed the guy, her husband. We found out he went off in his tuk tuk, rushed off, came back with a big bag of like flour, and they'd run out of flour basically to make more food. So they'd gone to all this trouble to just go and get this big bag of flour for us to make us more food, like because they thought we were gonna need more, but we didn't really because they had enough for us anyway. But the moral of the story is they want to keep you happy, and they love making you happy, and they thrive off seeing people happy. That was our experience, you know. We had one single female that we met, a traveller. She was a European. I forget where she was from, maybe Germany. And she said she had a slightly different experience. She found the guys to be a little bit full on with her. You know, she was travelling on her own. So I'll say if you're a female traveller, just going off what she's told me, you know, just have your wits about you, just common sense and that kind of thing. We personally didn't have any issues, but we're traveling as a couple, so. But she said she was a little bit, you know, uneasy every now and again, but nothing major. But just to be wary of that if you're a female, because generally it's female travellers that have these kind of issues rather than male like solo travellers, you know. But that was her experience. I'm sure there's other females out there that have had no problems whatsoever, and personally, and I'm sure my girlfriend will tell you the same, we had no issues whatsoever. We had just nothing but happy and friendly people come up to us and wanting to help us. So there you go. There's the little overview of Sri Lanka. Like I say, if you've got any questions, head them my way. You know, I'm happy to talk about them, and I'm looking forward to putting some new videos up. They're going to be a little bit different the next videos, obviously. With at the moment we're in lockdown, we're not able to go anywhere, and I've got quite a lot of old footage and photos of previous trips that I've been on, and with my partner Fabiola. You know, we've been on quite a lot of trips, so I think I'm going to try and document them and try and make vlogs out of them somehow and put them together so they're quite interesting, and to give you guys some information and advice on the places that we've been. So until then, take care and have fun, folks. Peace.